Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Friday in the Riv. And we got so much to talk about today. Just so much to talk about. And I'm just trying to get on YouTube again. No feedback because I shut the volume off. Am I successful? Yes, I think we are. But there is a delay there. So I'm gonna watch this screen predominantly, and
that's what I do.
So the MBTA. Let's lead with the MBTA and all the promises made, promises not kept, and the propaganda that goes along with selling this thing. These people, look. You gotta blame the people. We always tell them, question things, research things, and follow the money. Well, we know where all the money went when the MBTA came down here. And I know you've got a comment from Representative Fiola, how upset she is, but she's not really upset. They're still counting the money that hubby made. So it's not really that big a deal. But I'm going to I'm going to talk to you. There's some articles, and we'll show you the articles. And these are some of the articles. I actually have some that I put up here. While I access them. The articles in the Herald News are all positive spin articles.
They always are.
And excuses. Now, these are the articles that are in the Boston area. And you can access them, Boston Globe and stuff, but they want you to subscribe. But South Coast rail disruption leaves riders stranded. Kieran, who lives in Warren, Rhode Island, took a commuter rail on April 13th from Fall River in Boston with her partner to enjoy the afternoon. But they got stranded forever. Next one. Unreliable service plagues MBTA South Coast Rail. The new line has been plagued by shuttle buses, canceled trips, frequent delays. Then it says the MBTA, there's an article here that's saying the MBTA, if they don't get good ridership, may look at this as an excuse to cancel this project completely because they're going to use that as an excuse. Listen.
And what did I say? What did I say? With the lack of ridership, they were going to cancel the runs. Yeah. And I said that.
And a lot of these riders are not from Fall River. Fall River is not the last leg of their trip. They got to go to Warren. They got to go to other communities. They're coming in here. We're not getting a lot of Fall River ridership anyway. They're going to be dependent on these other people. And I mean, this is, it's fundamentally disgraceful when you look at this thing. I mean, you just can't believe some of these things. And in Boston, they understand this, and they write an accurate article about what a travesty is. They're finding that company they find it $51,000. But let me ask you something. You can tell this is government at its best. You tell me where we begin to worry about if we've got enough help to run a business after we run the business. We open up. Only the government does things like this. Only the MBTA would say, well, we don't have enough qualified conductors. Oh, we didn't have enough buses. Oh, well, aren't you supposed to know that before you open the doors? It's like opening a restaurant and saying, oh, by the way, we only got one waitress and one cook. And we got seating for 1,000.
But here's what they did. This train was not supposed to stop until the end of May. The end of May. Not March. The end of May. They started it in March because they wanted the politicians to look good because it's an election year for some. Okay? People like the big bullshit artist Paul Coogan. Okay, who swore that this was going to be the salvation of Fall River, And obviously, he's still got his head up his ass because he doesn't know it. Okay?
Yeah. Well, here's
Carol
another.
Fiola, who's making it sound like she's doing everything possible to make it happen. Okay? Listen to the testimony. There was a meeting of the MBTA yesterday. The director of the MBTA was there doing nothing but mea culpas. Saying that he's going to fine Keolis $51,000 for all of the delays, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They're going to put buses on the routes. We used to have buses that ran out of Fall River to Boston.
Yeah.
We didn't sign on for buses.
We had a city councilor that worked in Boston and went his entire career working in Boston, riding a bus into Boston.
That's right.
Mark Gustafson.
That's
Now,
right.
here's a couple more articles. The MBTA's long, winding, infuriating road to failure. And this is it. MBTA, a disaster. These are all articles outside of the Fall River area because all you get is propaganda.
That's
because
right.
Over here, it's excuses. Like we said, listen, you don't open up a business and open up the restaurant doors and have nobody working in the restaurant. You go, I got one. This is
Here's the sad part about it. Keolis, their director, manager, whatever they want to call him, owner, said very clearly that they did not have the conductors. They did not have the personnel because it takes so long to get them certified by the rail. And they've got to get certified on several different rails. It's not just one. And he said it. We knew we would not be prepared. Which means Carol Fiola knew. Which means the MBTA knew. Which means Paul Coogan knew.
But that's not what she said in her comment.
That's
her
right.
most recent comment, was it?
That's right.
More lies. More lies. And this is the problem. All we get from these people is BS. Hey, David, Linda, no, you've been waiting to hear the news, Linda. You will never hear the news in Fall River media outlets. We suck at radio, and the Herald News are propaganda. I've got the old Herald News articles with pictures of people on the train, articles about take the train because there's a lot of accidents on Route 24 and on the way to Boston. Take the train, like there's no train accidents. But that's another issue. This is another example of this city conning its people because you let yourself be conned. I'm not saying you. I'm saying the people in general. I know that you people keep your head in the game. You research. Listen, Colin Dyers and Nelson Vasquez put on an absolutely great article and presentation on why not to bring the MBTA in. They had slides, they had facts, they had newspaper articles. We went over newspaper articles, videos of Channel 4 in Boston. We told everybody, but they inundated you with cons. We went to the meeting. I spoke at that meeting when the guy came down from here and lied his ass off.
And when we told the truth, they shut us up.
Yeah. But this is what you're up against. And what do we have to do? You have to do your homework and get rid of these politicians. We've got to get it. No, nobody did listen, Alphonse. That's, the people who listened voted against it, but the other people who believe in unicorns and Tinkerbell, they never stopped selling them I mean, no wonder Fall River stays where it is. The voters either just don't care or they're so clueless. They believe. How long are these people are going to lie to you before you stop believing them?
They're the same people that vote for Linda Pereira and Paul Coogan and Mimi Larrabee and Paul Hart and Andrew Raposo. Those are the same people.
Yeah. Okay. The moral of the story is the other 40,000 people have to wake up and get to the polls.
That's right.
We're not going to take those votes away from these slugs, these useless shells that pretend that they're working for your benefit. Carol Fiola lied again in that thing. She said we were told that it was all systems go or whatever. You've got the letter. I know that. I've got other stuff. But I mean, I've been looking at articles now all afternoon from Boston. All of it condemns the MBTA for being ineffective, inefficient for the last zillion years, and they call it like it is. They came to Fall River. You saw those articles. Colin and Nelson put those articles, some of those articles, we put them on the show. We ran videos on this show. But what happens? 40,000 people stay at home. And then when we vote for something like this, we get a crappy turnout. And all the political people that are going to make money off this thing, they get it in. We told you about the charter. We told you, we can just keep going on. We told you about Durfee. We told you about Diamond. Now we told you about the MBTA. They, Colin and Nelson made a presentation. I went there. It was attended, but not. They should have packed the house.
That's right.
Great presentation. Great presentation. They had facts. They had figures. No bullshit. It was a no BS zone. They gave you facts. They put it up. They had a PowerPoint presentation. They put it up on a screen in nice big fat letters. You didn't even need your reading glasses. And they told you like it was. And nobody went to the polls. Nobody thought it was important enough. Now that they're going to look back on this in hindsight's 2020, when's the next time you're going to let them con you again and not vote? Because let me tell you something. You can thank this MBTA for jacking your rent up from $750 to $2,000. So it's because nobody wants to listen. They don't want to go to the polls. Yeah, I mean, listen, the MBTA is a disaster. It's been a disaster. I mean, you got a place that was $400 billion in the hole. Now they got this new director. He'll make excuses until everybody's sick of him not fixing it like the previous director. They'll fire him and get another guy that'll fill you full of bullshit promises for another 3 or 4 years before they replace him. The bottom line is, one of these articles in Boston fundamentally said the MBTA was, and always has been an epic failure.
That's right. No question about it. No question whatsoever. Yeah. And that's the problem. And as a matter of fact, the propaganda doesn't just stop with our politicians. Okay? Our old broadcast studio, FRC Media, keeps spewing the propaganda. I don't think that station has a backbone. They won't call them out. They won't call them out. Hence why we were taken off the air over there. Because we called them all out. And they got upset about it. How upset they got. People are filing false complaints. I was eating the heads off of little children with some of those complaints. Abby, you're not supposed to be on the bed.
And yeah. Another article, Boston Globe, it's a failure. Cancellations, delays, South Coast Rail, just weeks in, the rail runs short-staffed, fines. MBTA announces schedules, and Then we get to the Fall River articles. They got pictures of people on the trains, all this feel-good stuff. And you know the thing that really irritates me? They still haven't stopped trying to con the people. They're still making excuses and pretending that this is still a great thing. Oh, we're in the growing pains. Well, they've been in growing pains since the MBTA's been in existence. There's no excuse for not having the personnel to run the damn thing. As Carol Fiola said in her letter, there was no excuse. But then she went on to say that she was told there was, but that is not true, is it, CJ? It's not true. She was told they did not have the staff.
That's right.
So she's doing what politicians do best, trying to cover her butt and lie to you again. Oh, they told me everything was fine. Well,
and she's probably one of several elected officials that pushed for the early rollout date. Okay? Because that wasn't supposed to be the date. The date was supposed to be in May.
Yeah.
How soon everybody forgot that?
Yeah.
How soon they all forgot that?
Well, Alphonse, we're going to keep telling the truth. If you're going to be on, if you're going to have a campaign on the truth. But the key is, the bottom line is, we got to get voters out to. We got to get voters out to vote. I would like to see Paul Coogan not even make it through the primary. That's the kind of ignominious end he should come to with the way he's run the city. He should. We should not be.
If he lost the primary, you know what would happen? He would make sure he hired everybody he could for jobs in city government before he went out of office. He would spend every dime he could spend. He would give every tip he could give just to be sure that when January rolled around, he'd have something to fall back on. And we know.
Well, he's got plenty to fall back on, but he doesn't have much more to give away because we're broke.
That's right.
But the thing is that, listen, this is again all on the people of Fall River and the people who run. You can't wait till 2 months before an election to run. You got to start knocking on doors, having gatherings where you meet the people, going to neighborhood meetings, talking to the people, telling them the truth. The truth never fears investigation. If you tell the people, you can prove it. Colin did it. Nelson and Colin and Nelson gave him the truth. We gave him the truth. We told them. We told them. We told them. Everybody knew in the state of Massachusetts, except Fall River and New Bedford, where they have the propaganda networks, this thing was a crap show, has been, will be, and always was a total failure, an epic failure.
Here's a comment. Amy Blanchett. I was truly trying to remain optimistic about the MBTA in Fall River, but I'm disappointed and haven't even been able to take it yet from Fall River. My partner warned me this would happen as they lived in Boston and are used to it.
Oh, and I even got that message, CJ.
See that?
Wow, I got it. Oh, holy smoky. But mine comes in underneath. I got to lose the screen. It doesn't go over to the side. But no, that's okay. That's good. So we've got that one in there. But listen, you've got to be realistic. You know, I mean, we're realists our whole lives. I mean, I'm not an optimist. I'm not a pessimist. I'm a pragmatist. I look at a glass of water. You know, an optimist will say it's half full. A pessimist will say it's half empty. I say there's a glass of water and there's a glass over there with water in it. So that's what a pragmatist does. Listen, from our first show 15 years ago, we've been saying the same thing. We never change. The truth never fears. Investigation doesn't change. On our first show, we led the show with, don't believe what we say, research everything, and follow the money. Those are unlike Paul Coogan, who said, I'll be transparent and I'm going to obey the law. And both of those things he never did. We have been doing this since our first show 15 years ago when we said, follow the money, and everything we say, don't take our word for it. We will have proof. And if you don't believe us, go research it yourself.
That's
we
right.
want you to be an educated voter. We want you to know the truth. But it's a lot of this is on the candidates. You know, the voters don't come out, but you got to be as a candidate. You have to give them a reason to come out. You have to tell them, listen, point out, they know everything that's going wrong, but they got to believe there's somebody out there like Trump did on a national level. He went to people and said, they're for they, them, I'm for you. You got to go out there and do the same thing in the city of Fall River. You got to say, listen, we've seen what Coogan's done in 6 years. Give away money, give away tips. Our rents went up. They talked about how great thing this is. Your rent went from $750 to $2,000. And people can't afford it. We got all kinds of problems. We have another cover-up, which we'll be covering shortly. But you got to take the message to the people. You can't outspend Coogan. Coogan's got multi-million-dollar developers and backers who are going to back him. You're going to have to do a grassroots campaign. You're going to have to take it to the people. Take it to the street. That's what you got to do.
And the worst part about it is, you talked about the rents being $2,000. They're already looking at raising the rents again. They're already talking about it. To $2,250, $2,500. How are you going to afford that? How are you going to afford that? You can't. But that's what Paul wants.
Well, all I know is the average median income in the city of Fall River. Now I'm giving you a generalization, but I know the last time I looked wasn't that long ago. The average per capita income, individual per capita median, was $31,998. When Coogan took over, it was $30,000. So it's gone up less than $2,000 in 6 years, and the rents have gone up $1,300, $1,400 a month. So this is what Paul Coogan has done for this city. He still doesn't realize that, you know, I understand that when we first got in, he kept always reminding us that his friends are my banker friends, my lawyer friends, my developer friends, my rich friends. You don't count. You live in public housing. You're poor. You don't live in the North End. We don't do anything. And the thing is that what he's done is he's made this city, and by his own words, he's created, it wasn't Martha's Vineyard. What was the other? The Nantucket rent. Nantucket rents in a city that's like, the Ghost Island. People can't afford it, and he doesn't care. They're all making their money, and Paul Coogan left this city when he retired. I'll remind everybody. He bailed. He knows he doesn't like Fall River. He can BS all he wants. And the fact is that he told everybody, oh, yeah, I love it. No, you came back to get rid of the superintendent who would make you principal because she knew you were incompetent. You couldn't even run a school, let alone a city. You got rid of her, and then they tapped you because they said, we found the perfect puppet. There's another PP. We got a lot of P's with Paul. We've got the pathological prevaricator Paul. We've got this. But the thing is that he doesn't care. As soon as he's no longer mayor, he is out of here. The Fiolas, who knows? When she retires from the state as a state rep and politics, I want to see, I know that they're wealthy beyond your ability even to comprehend. How much Kenny has made since this MBTA came in, they'll never show you because they'll tell you, you're not entitled to see my tax forms. But they said to Trump, I always say, let me see how much you've made. I want to know how much money you're worth. What is your net worth? Because I can tell you, it's well in the multiple millions.
And funny,
they're going to worry about
Kenny takes that into everything he runs. Because now the Fall River Line Pier isn't a state agency. It's not a city agency. It doesn't get state money. It doesn't get city money. Therefore, the records are private. If they were so private, why did the state auditor step in?
Yeah. And why isn't the FBI here?
That's right.
Because just like our illustrious governor, they're trying to get her audited, but they won't do it because she spent money on illegals that was not earmarked for illegals.
That's right.
And now we've got a lot of money that was supposed to go to the people of Massachusetts. So look at, we hit the jackpot. We got the worst governor in the history of the state and the worst mayor in the history of the city of Fall River. So we just hit we got a pair that would beat a full house. If you know anything about poker. So we got a pair that'll beat a full house. But we got to get them out. And we got a council overall.
That's not much better.
School committee that is just like them. We have the most useless school committee. 95, they bounced them. They made that council look like it was full of Elon Musks. This council is the most useless pack of bobbleheads, with the exception of a few, that we've ever had. And hopefully our new sworn-in counselor will stand his ground and fight for the people of Fall River, and
according I think I said this on our last show, according to statements he's made, he does not support the blind appointment of the police chief. He wants a process. He supports a process. Now, hopefully, that means Ricky Teeth will not be a mayoral kiss ass. Hopefully, when this comes before the city council again, he doesn't have to think. He should just vote no. And by the way, Ricky, you sit on the side of Andrew Raposo. Before he opens his mouth, wrap him across the team. Let him know that his vote isn't acceptable.
No,
the people
don't. I know you're being facetious, but just bring some duct tape and duct tape his mouth shut. That's all. But yeah, look, this is crazy. It's about the people. We know, but it's got to be not about. It's about what they do. They're a symptom of the problem. The symptom is that the voters do not vote. In the old days, Fall River had 65, 70, 80% turnouts, like CJ said on the last show. We didn't have this problem in those days. A mayor would never dare raise taxes every year, let alone in an election year. Never raise taxes. He would never raise fees. They would not. We had $12 million in money we could do anything with Carlton. They would not do that. And by the way, that's right. We forgot. Got cranked up. Marilyn Roderick passed away.
Yep, I was
91 years old.
That off.
She ran for mayor and she only lost by 100 and something.
105 votes.
And well, they said that, but there's still a rumor that there were about 400 votes for her that got misplaced, thrown out the back of City Hall during that election. Remember that one?
Yes, I do.
We even had a guy who got a nickname after that election. That
Rigger
nickname
Machado.
was Rigger. We know that. We go back a long way.
Rigger Machado. And all those extra votes were found for Rigger. And they came out of Ward 6. In case you don't know where Ward 6 is, it's the Flint.
Who he really didn't have a strong base in either.
No, and he didn't. Now, here's a kicker. Massachusetts makes national news again. Massachusetts shelter costs $706.8 million in direct housing assistance programs. $537 million in direct shelter payments. That's where your tax dollars are going.
Yeah, and that's why. But this again, we can't stop at the city level. We've got to get rid of these school committee people, these city councilors, and our mayor. I live in Ward 6. I live in the Flint, grew up in the Flint, still live in the Flint. Unlike Paul, I didn't move out of here. When I came back from the military, I fundamentally lived in the Flint my whole life. So you can say that I'm a Flint rat. I don't care. But I like this place. And I like this city. But we got to get people to change it because people can't afford it. We're talking about rents going up again. Well, they can't even afford the rents they had before Coogan got in. They were scratching to make a living. And just look at the numbers. The household income, $53,000. It's like, median household. How can you afford rents? A one bedroom, some of them $2,000, $2,500 on $31,000. You look at the numbers, people. I know I like numbers, and I like numbers.
I know you do.
Track how much money the median income, and that doesn't mean that's bad enough when you look at the fact that thing hasn't virtually the needle on what the average person median income is in Fall River has fundamentally not moved at all since Coogan's been in office, while the rents have gone up. They've more than doubled. They've gone up 100%, and the income's gone up 2%. Do the math. But the thing is that what they don't understand is that's a worse figure than it looks, because that's an average. You know what I mean? A lot of people have gotten a lot richer in the city of Fall River. Now they get the poor people. It actually means that the poor people actually got poorer and the rich people got richer. That's the only thing that moved that needle even a little bit. Otherwise, if they wouldn't have factored in the people who are now got all nice $100,000 a year jobs from Paul Coogan, our per capita income would have probably gone down while the rents went up. This guy is an unmitigated, he's like the T. He's an epic failure as a mayor. I'll have to use the Boston Globe's word. An epic failure as a mayor. But people got to come out and vote his butt out, because all the people he made rich, they're going to the polls. The
problem is the people that are going to the polls are lining Paul's pockets. They're doing business with Ken Fiola. And the bottom line is 2 + 2 = screw you. Tell me I'm wrong.
No. But hey, listen, it is what it is. It's an epic failure. They're not going to fix it. They're going to make promises. They're going to put people on. They're going to put Band-Aids on it. But they're like the little Dutch boy with his finger in the dike. You're going to run out of fingers, because the MBTA is an epic failure. And it's not going to change in Fall River, because Fall River is not the kind of community that can save the MBTA. If giving rail service to Newton and Wellesley and all these rich places didn't save the MBTA, Fall River and New Bedford and Taunton are not going to save the MBTA. They're only going to put it deeper in a hole, and ultimately it's going to get to the point, like they said in that article, they are going to say, we can't afford to run that freaking part anymore, and they're going to shut it down.
That's right.
The Kenny Fiola and the developers only wanted the MBTA not for your good, but the fact that they could take over the waterfront, and they have. And the best justice they could have is have the waterfront become what it is. Oh, and by the way, we always talk about Baltimore. Baltimore got another first. That city that's been run by Democrats for the last 75 years, right? That's graduating people that have a 3rd grade, 4th grade reading level and giving them a high school diploma, and it's full of crime. It's one of the worst cities for crime in the country. CJ, I just saw a study. Guess what? Baltimore is the dirtiest city in the United States.
Yes, I saw that.
Huh?
I saw that.
And you know what the 3rd dirtiest city was? Boston.
Yeah.
So this is what Democrats do for you, people. But we know where it is. We'll be hitting this again hard, and and again, I'm going to shout out to the people who tried. It wasn't only us. Nelson and Colin did a great job. That presentation was really, really well done. And as an aside, all you Colin Dyers haters, I can tell you one thing. I went to that presentation and I checked every fact, and every one of them was on target. Everything they presented was hard facts and numbers. Yet you condemn his actions on the school committee. If anybody that's sitting in a chair on that school committee has proven that they do their homework and they have the best interest of the people of the city of Fall River, it's Colin Dyers. Dyers, I have never seen Mimi. I don't think Mimi Larrabee knows what a PowerPoint is unless somebody stabs her with a pen. I don't, and these people on the school committee, all they know how to do is lie and cry like Carol. And again, here's the picture I showed on the last show. Here it is. This is their method. This is Kenny Pacheco, 2012. Michael Holzman, good reporter. Suspended. That was 13 years ago. In 13 years, did he get fired after 9?
Yeah.
No, he got transferred to the school department, got a giant pay raise, mishandled money over there, and he had Tommy Corey singing his praises. Oh, I love him. He's a wonderful guy. I love him. He's such a beautiful. What are you people doing? What are you people at? Colin, shut up. Stop asking about misspent money. Let Kenny do anything he wants. Kenny came up in front of the people and said, I spent more money than I had to because we had to do it anyway. It doesn't matter. It's only your money. And this guy, this is the poster child right there. There's the poster boy. And I had a nice big argument with a former chief of staff, Lou Pacheco, over this guy because he's his pal. And I hope his buddy Sutter is watching his show. Because I called it like it was then, and I called it like it is now. This is what you got. Incompetent boobs getting pay raises every year for robbing your money. So,
isn't it the truth?
But now that we're on the school committee, we promised our viewers we were going to talk about and since I brought Colin in because we segue, because we're going to, my advice to you, and CJ can give you his, is to call your school committeemen and ask them questions about this. Because I am looking at something that was given to us by
the complainant.
Well, I don't know if the complainant sent it, but so we're not going to deal with names because these are allegations. Let us make this perfectly clear before we begin this discussion that this is still in the allegation stage, but the way it looks and from what we've been heard, there will be a lawsuit, hopefully, on this thing. And I think you should, and if Colin doesn't know about this and the city council doesn't know about this, I want to know why they don't know about it. Well,
I sent it to Colin.
Colin has it.
Yep.
And the allegation is from, like I said, we're not going to deal with any names. These are all allegations, and the individual has the right to due process, but so does the alleged victim. They have the right to due process, and there's no due process here.
Well, the really weird part about this complaint is I don't remember reading the full name of the alleged perpetrator. We got a last name, but I didn't see a full name.
No, maybe it is.
Oh wait, there it is. I found it.
It is. It's in the
first
bulleted
line.
The bulleted section.
Yep, first line.
But this is the problem. This is recent report of sexual harassment, and then the complainant's name is named, but we're not going to get the complaint.
We're not going to say it.
And then this response to the complainant was by the director of human resources, which is public record. He is Brian J. Lally.
Brian Lally.
Resources. It's to the complainant's mother and the complainant, and fundamentally it says that it makes a serious allegation. They went over it about what led up to it, but the bottom line is the alleged perpetrator of this made a statement to the young female student, when he asked if the individual that she was talking to was her boyfriend, and she responded yes. She said, this is a quote in this letter: "Do you enjoy your boyfriend at night?" Unquote. Now, I had to give that sexual harassment course every year to the firefighters in my shift. The city had a thing. I don't know how. That is, to me, an egregious violation. You can't even tell an off-color joke based on the federal law. But then the part that disturbed me is that the district told her fundamentally that they are obliged to dismiss the complaint because Title IX's definition, it doesn't meet that. But then you can go deal with it on a federal level or what. And it also goes on to say this is not an admission of innocence either. Doesn't mean that the person isn't guilty, but you're on your own now. It says they can do something, but what we've been told by our sources is this individual is part of the team. No further action is going to be taken. Now, I'm not convicting him. I'm not saying he did it. What I'm saying is, as someone who sent 2 children through the public school system, and I see all the cover-ups in the public school system, I think that the school committee should be on this and ensure that something else is done, because what that individual said was a violation of the sexual harassment city policy, which has disappeared under these mayors, but it's still supposed to be there, against federal law. And I still find it hard to believe, and I still haven't had time because I've been really busy. I'm going to research for Monday that Title IX definition. I don't know how any governmental arm like Title IX is fundamentally a governmental guideline. I don't know how you're prohibited from making a definition that is less than a federal law. And the federal sexual harassment laws are pretty stringent. So I'm not saying it. This guy may be innocent. I don't think so, but that's my opinion. And my opinion doesn't matter. But the school committee should be concerned with this. And I want to see them do something about it. Not nod their head. I don't want to hear Tommy Corey get his guitar, because he sings a lot, and start singing the praises of this guy like he did with Kenny Pacheco. I want to know if this truly happened, if that was truly said, and if so, are you going to allow this individual to get away with it? Period.
Why not? They've allowed other people working in the department to get away with it. There have been allegations of security personnel having sex with underage females. There have been allegations of teachers, security personnel, and school staff going out on dates, taking them out to dinner. Those all fall under Title IX. But no, we don't have those problems in Fall River because I'm Paul Coogan and I don't see them. I walk around like this with the hands covering my eyes. Either that or I stick my head up my ass. It stinks, but I don't have to see it.
Well, I hope, and that's the problem. We don't know if this mother has the financial means to push this, because the school department, I don't see them doing a damn thing. I haven't heard a damn thing about it, but I know Colin watches our show, and well, Colin's got to copy this. I want to see this thing brought out into the daylight, and I want to know what they're going to do, because it says very clearly in this, and I'm going to read that part verbatim. Please note that such a dismissal under Title IX, sexual harassment grievance procedure, and I don't know whether they did that on a technicality, does not, let me get this thing here, okay, because I got to does not preclude the school district from taking action in accordance with state or other federal laws under another provision of the district's or school's codes of conduct. Well, we have a city policy about sexual harassment. It's disappeared. But to my knowledge, you cannot repeal something that is basically reaffirming a federal law.
Right.
So if the city doesn't have a sexual harassment policy, they should be sued. But I don't know if this individual has the money to push this, but I don't think she should. I think the school committee should say, we want it. Well, if this complaint, because they also say in this that this is not an admission under Title IX.
I would file it with the Federal Labor Relations Board. I would file it with the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. I would file it with the district attorney. I would file it with the U.S. attorney. I would file it everywhere I possibly could to get as many people to see it as possible. And then let's see Paul pull his head out of his ass saying, I didn't know. I didn't know. Like he does all the time.
That's not what I meant. That's not what I said. That's his other con. Well, listen, I'm encouraging you guys, call the school committeemen and tell them what is going on here. Colin has the copy, and I'm sure he's going to show other school committee people. And then you're going to have exactly what happened with Malone. You're going to have Mimi Larrabee hide under the desk and pretend there's nothing here to see. Shut up. They're going to ignore the fact, because I'm not even sure if she can read. But the fact is that it says right in there, they have the right to pursue this. And they should pursue it.
Remember, Mimi Larrabee owes Paul a lot because she got that big, fat paying job.
That's right.
That the city has a contract with her current employer, and she's working under that contract. But there's no ethical violation there.
Well, listen.
This is how they get bought, people. This is how they get bought. Bought and paid for. You cannot. That somebody. I wish they should sue the school department. The school committee cannot sit idly by and not investigate. They cannot allow a technicality to say that we're not going to do anything because it doesn't. When their own HR director said it doesn't mean he's not guilty of this. And that they can pursue other avenues. If they say, no, we don't want to, it means that they're going to. It's like the guy that killed too many years ago. Some of you people were probably in grammar school, but there was a guy in California that killed 28 people in a McDonald's. 28 people. Gunned them down. And he was released and never served a day in prison after killing 28 people because the police officer who arrested him did not Mirandize him. On a technicality, a murder went loose. And that's why somebody asked why I never became a lawyer. That's why I could never become a lawyer, because if they let that guy go, I would have murdered him in a courtroom, and then I would have gone to jail for murder, because I can't stand stuff like technicality should not be an excuse to allow people that have done things that are wrong. If this individual made that statement, and I'm not saying that he did,
If he ever said that to my daughter, there would be a lot more than a complaint filed. He better move to Brazil like the Nazis did.
That's right. Damn straight. Hey, I just got a message in. Cumulus Radio, also known as WPRO in Providence, Rhode Island, is one of the stations, has been delisted from NASDAQ after a 94% decline from their 52-week high. So they're going broke. Gene Valicenti may be looking for a new job. Not like he doesn't already have one. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, look, this is a serious matter. If we have a teacher who actually made that statement, and also there have been allegations, and again, there are allegations. There have been allegations that even that document is not 100% accurate. That some of the witnesses to this were never interviewed.
Right.
They dismissed it on a technicality. That is BS.
Right.
Colin, I'm telling you right now, that's BS. Go talk to Will. He's a lawyer. You can't not interview people. You know, because that's the way they're going to say, well, it doesn't fit the definition under Title IX. Well, it fits the definition under federal law, under city sexual harassment policy, under state sexual harassment. Let's give this thing due process.
I've got one for you.
Don't interview people, and they said, and the way it was structured in that letter was not the actual way it happened. And I got this from an extremely reliable source that letter is even not 100% accurate.
Well, I'll give you one. How old is the victim? If the victim's 15, file a criminal complaint. Not that the Florida Police Department will pick it up, because the current interim chief used to be a school resource officer. And we've seen how effective they've been over the past couple of years. I think school resource officers go there to sit around all day and relax and retire, because they doesn't seem they do real police work. I haven't heard them stop any crimes. As a matter of fact, when there's a fight across the street, they don't even answer it. The Florida Police Department does. When my daughter went to that school, okay, one of her friends was having sex with somebody who worked there. Okay, she was assaulted several times. The school said, well, she must have caused it. They didn't look into it. The person who did it actually turned around and said, yeah, I beat the shit out of her and I'll do it again. And they did nothing about it. They thought it would be a good idea if my daughter went home for a couple of days. Not suspended, just a good idea.
Well, I'll tell you, this is outrageous. It happened to a child. But then again, where are we?
Chris Peckham. Title IX includes a fair and predictable grievance process to ensure due process. If there's questions of the process, in my opinion, due process wasn't afforded. Right on, Chris. You're right. Absolutely.
Well, Chris, I'm glad.
Right.
I'm looking up Title IX this weekend. I tend to agree with you. I have a difficult time understanding how they could have a definition that is less punitive than federal law. You can't do that. You cannot do that. And that is basically a governmental dictate, Title IX. I don't know where they came up with. They are required to dismiss it and send you to another venue because their definition of sexual harassment precludes a grievance. That makes zero absolute sense. And I probably spent more time in court than Coogan spent hiding at Durfee High School. Good to see you too, Chris. Good to see you back in the mix.
Going to be back on the ballot.
We need another fighter on the city council.
That's right.
I will say it loudly and clearly. You have my vote. You proved that you were for the people of Fall River.
No question about it.
Office, and I know you will be another advocate for people again. And I think that the people of Fall River should remember what you did fighting for those opera funds that were grossly misspent. And you were a credit to the council. And I think that I'm glad to see you. I'm glad to see you back in the mix. CJ and I can't get out. We're like the Godfather. You know, we tried to get out, and he pulled us back in.
Right back in.
Can't get out of this thing. It's like we're addicted to politics. But
hell, even when I'm in the hospital, I'm in it.
That's right. CJ did a show from the hospital bed. A
Several
couple of
shows.
But yeah, this is nuts. I mean, this is. I mean, you read this letter, and you know that I read a lot of letters for grievances and arbitrations and stuff like this and lawsuits while I was running the union. And it's like, this letter makes no sense at all. Contradictory. We have reports. That even the letter is inaccurate. And where is it? Does the school committee even know? Well, I know that Colin knows because CJ sent him a copy. I sent CJ a copy. I got that from a very, obviously it's a very reliable source. It's on school department stationery signed by the HR director. So, I mean, that's it. That's exactly the document that the parent and the complainant, the child, received from HR. So, I mean, you mean the only process here was lack of process, not due process. This is crazy. I mean, this can't happen to our children in the schools. I mean, like I said, there would be a lot more in a complaint filed if she did that to my daughter. But you know, it's become a circus over there. My granddaughter went to Durfee when she got there when it first opened. And, you know, the bathrooms were already a disaster. People were ripping things off the walls. She sent me pictures of the stuff that was going on in the bathrooms and stuff. So it was like,
all's pride and joy, a royal shithole.
But hey, so we give you guys call your school committee people, and you know, and then wait for the whining fest and the cover up fest that's going to happen. They're going to tell you, well, we can't talk about it. There's pending litigation. Well,
we need to go into executive session.
Tell us this pending litigation. Tell us exactly what it was said in that letter. That did not preclude you from going to other areas where there was a violation. You're not going to tell me what was said was not a violation. I watched those videos for years. Once a year, I had to go to every fire station on my shift and watch that video and go through the sexual harassment policy of the city of Fall River. And everybody in every department had to look at it. And then once we began with these corrupt mayors, that policy has seemed to slip Paul's memory. And I know that he got that class when he was in the school department. Because you're not going to tell me the school department didn't give a sexual harassment policy. But then what did they do? They hired the premier sexual deviant and Malone, the guy that had been thrown out of 2 other systems for sexual harassment, and he make him the superintendent. So
there you go.
Welcome to Bizarro World. CJ's going to sign. We had a great hour today. I'm going to tell you right now, the cure to the problem is elect people like Michelle Dion, Chris Peckham, put them in a city council and let them do the work of the people. You got to get to the polls. We can't let 14,000 people control this city. It's up to all the candidates to get out there, and it's up to all of you people. Call all your friends and say, you don't like what's going on? Get your ass to vote.
That's it. Make sure you do it. And remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Dodge those raindrops on Saturday.